All right, so the girl is buzzing. So I decided that she could, or we decided that she could do another topic. And today, well, now, end of the night's topic is going to be about work, career, and parents. Um, yeah, listen in. So again, I have a few questions for her. She might have some for me. I hope not. But yeah, we'll take it from there. So yeah, how did you choose your career or job?
Honestly, I thought it was going to be really easy.
Okay.
I went and got my bachelor's degree in psychology and can't really do much with that. So I decided to get my master's in education, and I found a program that was supposed to just be like really easy. So that's how it started, trying to take the easy way out. Little did I know.
All right. And how is it now that you're in it?
It's probably the hardest job in the world. I'm a
Really?
teacher, by the way.
Oh, oh yeah, I forgot
Oh
about
yeah,
that. Yeah, so.
I'm a teacher.
All right. You don't teach me nothing. But anyway, so okay, well, now it is. You say, or you probably think that for you is probably the hardest thing that you've done.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's a lot more work than people think it is.
And do you think that kind of any job is difficult as long as you challenge yourself?
Well, obviously.
Yeah. So even
I don't think I was prepared for the emotional strain that teaching puts on you. You go and do a job, but teaching's one of those things that you don't really like. You walk out the door, the school bell rings and everyone goes home, and you think that okay, the teacher's job is done, but in reality, teaching never stops. You're constantly thinking about your kids, constantly thinking about, their welfare, it's nonstop.
yeah. So okay. So I guess what you're saying then is also the fact that again what we're saying now is that whatever you are doing, as long as you're challenging yourself in life, it's difficult. Because I think my job is difficult. You think your job is difficult. Someone else is gonna think their job is difficult. But it's about that. It's about challenging yourself more than anything.
And I enjoy that part of it now.
Yeah. And you
you
need
know.
to get it. You need to challenge yourself as well.
Of course, you have to challenge yourself to grow and be a better person.
Okay. All right. And how do you think parents influenced you? Parents and friends.
Um, I don't know. I mean, out of all my friends, I was kind of the first one to start a career, I guess. And so I don't really think there was a lot of influence from friends. It was going from being a bartender and partying all the time to actually being an adult. So, some of those friends had to get left behind. But at the end of the day, I don't think anyone really was a big influence in the career that I chose.
Okay. So no parents influencing anything
Like, what do you mean by influence?
in the sense that like you chose teaching or you didn't choose something else because of parents.
No.
Okay, so it was solely your decision. It was
Yeah.
your journey and everything. Okay. Because I think that a lot of people kind of there is a lot that I know of already that kind of like, oh, I wanted to be this, but then my parents said this. I wanted to be a dancer, but my parents said I wanted to be a lawyer,
Yeah.
or I had to be a lawyer, or whatever it is. I needed to be a cricket player, but then I wasn't as good as my dad or my mom, and I kind of then chose something else, and I'm not kind of happy about it. So I think what you're saying is basically like you need to choose something that's for yourself, regardless of anyone else.
You have to.
Kind of.
If
'Cause
you don't, then you're never going to be happy.
Yeah, and you're the one that actually makes the decision and goes to the job.
Yeah.
To begin
Who
with,
actually has
regardless
to do
of-
it.
Okay, that's good. And negatively, is there anything that anyone that actually impacted on what you think or what you're working at negatively?
When I started, I think the most negative influence was myself. It was a really, like I said, I went from being a bartender to being a teacher. It was a really hard transition. My first year teaching was also when I was finishing up my master's, and it was very difficult.
Yeah.
So I tried to like keep one foot in that party life and then had another foot in an adult life, and it was quite a struggle.
I think what you're saying is very important, and it also kind of goes back to like that whole male female talk about like for females you get to a certain part of your age, and I keep saying this, get to a certain part of your age where you kind of have to make decisions, make a family or kind of risk not having a family in the sense that your genes are not going to be as strong to make kids. Whereas for guys, it's very easy for us to be like, ah, whatever. It's like, I can do this today, and then tomorrow if I change, I change. But for you guys, it's very important for you to make the decision yourself so that you can then kind of stick with it the whole time. And then, because obviously you're going to be happy in it. But then for us, it's like, we can kind of chop and change, and we don't have like a sort of direction in it. So, I think I think your viewpoint's actually it's quite interesting.
Well, thanks.
Anyway, okay, let me see what else I have here. No. Okay, do you think parents should influence the job that you're in or career that you're in?
No.
Why not?
Why would they?
Expect that. So a lot of parents feel as though that they don't want, like for instance, they don't want you to be a failure. So then they'll say, don't do that, do this. So do you think that it's viable for them to do that?
No, because I feel like, I'm not a parent, so I probably shouldn't speak to this, but I feel like my mom, she raised me in a way that she knows I'm always going to be successful because of the person she raised me to be. So choosing a career and doing that, I think that she completely trusts me in the decisions that I make because of the person that, she grew me to be. The person she influenced, the person that she instilled values and morals into. I think that, and I feel like as a parent, that's what you should do. You should know that you've done your job correctly and that you've given your kid the tools that they need to be the best person they can be.
Yeah, profound.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I have my moments.
Okay, because I totally understand what you're saying, and I'm just thinking about how parents don't understand that, and thinking about from my own experience in a sense whereby like parents were kind of like, we didn't grow up as fortunate as other people. The color and the race thing comes in, and so therefore you need to now kind of lift our family name up, and then you become the person that needs to then change the way the family is, and change the way the community is, and change the whole way that the culture is. And then in saying that, it's like, well, then you need to then choose a career that's going to bring a lot of money back into our homes. And then before you know it, you're like, but I just want to dance. And something like, there's not a lot of money in dance compared to other high-end careers. You just kind of want to dance, or you want to be, I don't know who wants to be a physio, but you want to be a physio, or you just want to do something that kind of excites you. You just want to be a cricket player. You just want to be a soccer player. But then you have that pressure of, no, you can't do that. But there's not money at home. So now you need to be the one that kind of goes out and fights for the family, whether you like it or not. And then those people then have kids, and then they tell their kids to do the same thing. And you find that no one really is actually striving for what they want in life.
Where I'm from, I've never experienced that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's cultural, I don't know what it is, but my mom and dad worked in a factory, 12-hour shifts, 4 or 5 days a week to give me and my brother everything that we wanted to make us successful, to give us the tools that we needed, or that they thought that we needed. I've never ever had my mom,
come back at you.
Ever. My mom has never asked me for money. My mom has never, expected me to give back. If anything, she still gives me, so, I'll call my mom and she'll be like, oh, put some money in your account for you, just nice things like that. Like, it's never been, I've provided for you all these years. Now, what can you give me? My family, my whole family has always just been like, the parents are the providers. And it doesn't matter at what age, like the parents are the ones who should be giving to their children and enabling their children to be the best versions of themselves.
Geez, again, like I say, I think with what you're saying now, it gets into very tricky grounds, because then it's like, you're dealing with a lot of emotional stuff But I think that emotional stuff is exactly what needs to be exerted as well, because you need to be like, listen, mom, like I understand that, it's tough and this and that and this and that, but I'm not here to be a provider for the family, because then my kid is going to be provider for me, and then it's going to keep going on, and we can keep, again, like the last topic we had, we can keep blaming and making excuses for each other, but it needs to stop somewhere. And then as soon as it stops, then we can stop blaming the next person, because then you find that if my mom, or if a mom, my mom's going to slap me, if a mom or a dad, generic, doesn't feel as though that you should have your own life and you should be living with them, then they should know that they're terrible parents. Because if they're not allowing you to do that, if they're not allowing you to be yourself, then you'll always be in their shadow, and you kind of always will fill that void that they kind of left on the world, and then you never actually develop as a person.
Yeah,
then you're always your dad's lookalike or your mom's lookalike.
Yeah.
I think that's also one of the things that we need to, or at least in our culture, where we kind of have to think about. It's very sensitive topics, and it's very, but it's true. It's like when you think about it, your dad or your parent can think, actually, you know what? Maybe I don't. The fact that I even had him to begin with, I should be able to take care of him. I should make the best to take care of him, and then I shouldn't use that as a tax or as an investment to say to him, oh, you know what? So you owe me $50,000 for raising you. It's like, well, okay, cool. I can send that to your account, and then I'm not in your debt. Now what? So yeah, that's a good.
I mean, in the States, I think like that is the culture that we, like it is. You don't have kids unless you can't provide for them, and of course people do, and there are other circumstances. But ideally, like that's the way generally the States would think. Like you don't have a child unless you are able to provide for them fully.
All right. Yeah, that's good, man. I think a lot of people should hear that, at least if it's coming from you. Just want to just read these out quickly.
Some comments and questions.
Yeah. Someone said, times have changed. There are so many new careers that parents might not be aware of.
That's also very true.
Yeah.
So they hear something new and they're like, why would you do that? That's not going to be lucrative or whatever. They don't even understand it.
And then she said, but no one can guarantee whether you fail at something, especially if you love what you've chosen. Yeah.
Agreed.
Some bars coming out of here, man. All right. Who's you said no biggest supporter?
My mom has been my biggest supporter through everything.
Okay.
Even when she had nothing, she would bend over backwards, to make sure that I was successful and I had everything I had.
All right. Your worst supporter?
In what? My career or my life?
Career and life, I guess.
I mean, I don't have a worst supporter in my career. I don't think anyone would ever tell me don't be a teacher.
Then who are your bad supporters?
Okay, so my brother definitely supports me being a teacher. He definitely does not support me being an international teacher. So being away from home and traveling and not being there, with a family, he definitely doesn't support that.
Yeah. And how do you deal with that?
I laugh it off.
So even to the people that you kind of that hold you dearly, or you hold dearly to them, you hold yourself dearly to them, you find that if they're not supporting you, then they might as well not be around.
If you're not gonna, have a positive influence in my life and have something positive to say, I love my brother obviously very, very, very much, but if he's never gonna understand. So at the end of the day, like I do miss my family, and I get the fact that he wants me to be there, around his kids and everything else. But if I don't put myself first, if I don't, do what's best for me in my life and my career, then, what am I going to do? Go sit home in Texas and be miserable, whenever I'm, actually really thriving where I am? Doesn't make sense because someone else wants me to.
Texas. How do you handle work stress?
Well, I used to drink a lot.
Hmm. And then you found your
Now,
reason not to.
yeah. Now, I think that the way I kind of work out a lot of stress is through working out. I go work out right after I leave school and just leave it kind of all there. You know, if I'm in a really bad mood when I get to the gym, I'm never in a bad mood when I leave the gym. So it doesn't really matter what kind of crap day I had. You know, I've worked out the anger, the aggression, the stress. I come home and take care of me. So,
Yeah. That's actually something I wanted to touch on because I've been going through a lot of hard work stress as well. I think for me, like what you're saying, you find a way to kind of deal with it in the sense that you go and you work out and you go and you do something that doesn't have to do with work.
something positive.
Yeah, I think the way I did it when I first came here was kind of like I didn't handle it at all. You know, kind of was reactive, kind of was jumpy, and kind of was volatile. Anything happens, it's probably bad, so I need to be volatile against it. And then I realized that like again, it's almost like the theme that we kind of have now is the fact that whatever happens, if it's bad, it could be worse. So how do I deal with it now? So fear either drives you, defeats you, in the sense that then if you see something bad happening, you can either crumble or you can just face it. And it's easier to crumble, but it's better to face it because then if it comes out again later on, it's like, well, I know how to deal with you. So I think again, even with work stress, if you can deal with it, go ahead and deal with it. If you can't deal with it, then maybe you should then start writing up your CV, start looking. I was saying this as well today, even at work. I was like, the one thing that I actually appreciate about this job, even the fact that I might be so angry some days, is that it's the one thing that motivated me to change my CV and to keep writing stuff and to keep going to courses because I was preparing to leave at least. I didn't have to leave, but I was preparing to. And as soon as I prepared to leave, then even when I got into sticky situations, I was always thinking, like, I don't put that much feeling into it. And then when I don't, then I know exactly what I'm here for, so.
I also think it's really important to surround yourself with like positive and like-minded people.
Yeah.
So whenever you do like start complaining or have like those really bad days or you're being super negative about something, someone who'll be like, okay, why are you feeling this way? And then, I don't know, like change your mindset on it and make you think of it from a different way.
Yeah.
How can you, okay, so this was shit. What can we do to make it better?
Yeah.
What can you do? You can't change the situation, but you can change how you react to the situation.
Make your days better.
Yeah, so having those like-minded people around you also
That's actually
helps.
another good topic that we could talk about, or that I could talk about if you're keen. About how, like, even at work, I decided, like, there were certain times or certain situations where I'd always get into sticky situations in the sense that like, if I had a lot of free time, then I would get into more trouble or get more angrier. So then I just filled that time. So I used that time that I had free to write up my CV, or to use that time that I had free to go and do something constructive, write something up, do something for my parents, call my family, whatever it was. So that time was then quickly substituted with something positive. And then before you know it, after like a day, it's like, oh, actually I didn't have an altercation today. And after a week, no altercation. After a month, no altercation. And in the same breath, it's like, I'm actually also starting to work out of here. So everything that's happening is more positive than it is negative.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a good topic to touch on. And then I think, one more thing. Like I said, when I kind of started this whole thing, it wasn't about like getting likes, getting shares, getting all that stuff. It was about just changing one person's life. Just really being genuine about it. Whether you subscribe or not doesn't matter. I don't even know how that stuff works anyway. But yeah, I was basically just just got tired of watching people complain, tired of watching people complain to me, tired of watching people trying to help someone, but then they don't try to help themselves. I was like, you know what, let me just, give back to the young youth. So keeping up with that keeping up with that theme, what would you say to someone that's like, well, my brother and my sister are in grade 11, 12, or grade 10, 11, grade 11, I don't know. Oh, that's terrible.
That's real bad. I hope they see this.
I need to have a bad side somewhere. What would you say to them in terms of like getting getting into jobs and careers, what kind of advice would you give them? Because yeah,
What advice would I give the youth?
the young youth,
I
man.
mean, that's usually your job.
I know. But I've been teaching you, so I want to see what you learn.
Honestly, I think the biggest advice you can give anyone is to just be authentic to yourself. You know, whenever you start studying, take a bunch of different courses, find something that you actually enjoy and actually enjoy learning about, because you're going to be learning about it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know,
So
like,
make a good decision in the
yeah.
beginning, man. Be true, like,
and even
be
if
honest.
be honest with yourself, because if, you know, I did psychology and I loved psychology, but at the end of the day, you know, not going to be, I knew from the beginning I was never going to be a psychologist. I just really enjoyed the topic. So, you know, having those hard conversations with yourself, that, you know, much needed self-reflection, and like, you know, don't just do it because you think you're supposed to. And if you decide to change your major, change your major. Do what you think is right for your life.
Yeah, man, I think, the money's not all of it, man. The money will come. There's nothing worse than actually getting money that you don't really, in a job that you don't really like, because then how are you going to spend it? You're probably going to spend drinking and smoking and doing everything to kind of get you to the job to begin with. But if you're doing something that you love and you're doing something that you're really happy about, then you can kind of, the money doesn't really matter, you know, because then you're enjoying work. That's actually one of the biggest differences about careers and jobs. You know, with the career, it's like you do it because you want to. You do it even when you don't have to do it. Like on your off day, you're like, well, I like what I'm doing. That's why a lot of guys play sport a lot. You know, they like what they're doing, so they do it. You know, some of them don't make it, some of them do. And then even the guys that don't make it, it's like, well, keep playing football, keep playing cricket, keep playing rugby and whatever, tennis, hockey, whatever sport that you're playing, to keep yourself happy. And then look for something that's kind of similar to that. Maybe you weren't good enough being on the field, but then you're like, but I could be a coach, or I could be an administrator, or I could be anything that's close to the passion that I'm doing, so that then you can actually still enjoy what you're doing, instead of saying, you know what, didn't make it in rugby, let me go and teach. And it's like, okay, but do you like that? If you don't,
Let's
it's
go
like, well,
do
then,
some math.
exactly. Maybe you should work out how to kick a ball. Then it's like, oh, okay, something. Okay, but anyway, but that's that. Again, like I say.
There's someone else who said something, I think. No.
Yes. Said unfortunately, a lot of parents in South Africa somehow don't understand that don't understand that it's their responsibility to raise us, and we shouldn't worry about paying them back. But I think due to them sacrificing so much, it's a lot. Sacrificing so much when they didn't have much, it's by default that most of us, especially in the black communities, you somehow find yourself having to help out a home and build a home before you can start a home of your own. It's the bars I'm talking about. These are the conversations that we gotta start, gotta maintain, find solutions for it. And I think, you need to be the start of it. If your parents can't think about it, and you try to tell them and they don't understand, then you start it. Then you stop sending money home. You start cutting them off, and you start showing that you're serious and you want to change your life. And obviously, again, it's like anything. Weight loss, setting goals, it's going to be difficult. There's going to be people that are going to hate against you. There's people that are going to not understand what you're doing. But then once you've done it, then it's like, oh, okay, cool, well, exactly. And then that becomes a ripple effect. So again, anything that has to do with culture, there's a reason how it got there. It was changed by someone's thoughts. So then why can't you change those thoughts? You know, so again, it's difficult, but it's possible. Just got to stay positive with it. Yeah, that's a nice topic though as well. And then also resilience is important in the workplace, and understanding why you wake up and go there every day. That's
Resilience.
it. Oh, man, these people are amazing. But yeah, anyway, that's it. Like I said again, keep giving topics that we can talk about to kind of, make this whole lockdown and pandemic situation a bit better for someone. Especially people that are really in tough situations, that actually feel like they, depressed or anxious and they can't do anything. And then, again, it doesn't have to be a personal reward. It's not charity giving more than it's like, again, give you something that you can help yourself, and then, take it from there. All right. Thank you.